Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome back to another professional match of StarCraft 2. Now, today I've got something special for you. Rather than this being your regular 1 versus 1, today I am giving commentary to a 2 versus 2. Now, right from the get-go, I'll be honest with you, I have tried giving commentary to 2 versus 2s and 3 versus 3s and 4 versus 4s in the past, but usually at some point in the game, be it at 5 minutes or be it at 15 minutes, at some point in the game, I usually lose track of everything that is going on. The thing is, since all 4 players in this game are perfectly capable of microing like 2 to 3 engagements simultaneously, you can imagine that at some point this gets absolutely chaotic. So I'll try my very best to keep track of everything that's going on. Now the thing is as well, at the professional level of play, we don't really see a lot of 2v2. That's mostly because, you know, most tournaments are played in 1v1 and a lot of pro gamers just simply don't practice 2v2 for that very reason. But I, for one, would love to see more 2v2s and team games in general at this level of play. I mean, I casted an Archon match recently. That was absolutely ridiculous. Such a high level of play. But let me know what your thoughts are. Would you like to see more team games in SC2 as well at this level? I, for one, would not mind it whatsoever, even though it is a little bit chaotic. Now, regardless, I do think it is about time we get started, like we always do, with introducing the players. So, spawning here, in the top left-hand corner of Emerald City LE. It's a beautiful map. It's got like an LED strip around the main base. I wonder if it's like PC hardware that like the SCVs start running, you know, faster right now as well, just because of the LEDs. But regardless, spawning here in the top left-hand corner, we first off have none other than Cure, as well as his ally, who goes by the name of Trap. Now, both of these players, of course, are from South Korea, and I consider both of them to be some of the very best in their respective race. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're gonna be excellent teammates as well, but I can imagine that at the very least they are good friends, and since they are all very, very good at what they do, I'm excited to see what kind of strategy they can pull off in 2v2. Now, their opponents, though, definitely no weak players either. Spawning here, in the bottom right-hand corner, and playing with the blue drones, we first off have none other than Elazer, as well as his ally, who goes by the name of uThermal. Now, by the way, rather than going with your standard 4 colors in 2v2s, I've decided to color all of the teams right here in just the same color. So we have red versus blue, which will hopefully make it just a little bit easier to see what's going on. A little bit of cute micro right here between uThermal and Cure, and it does look like uThermal is the one who ends up coming out ahead there. He will be able to slow down now that command center on the low ground as well. So small little advantage here, I think, in the early game for the players in blue. Man, I wonder at what point I'm gonna completely lose it though. It's so tricky because they're all so very good. Oh man. Alright. So here we go. The Stargate does get scouted here. So Elazer and uThermal will be aware of the fact that an Oracle is likely gonna fly across the map here in just a little bit. Very important to do so. If you don't see that kind of structure being chrono boosted here in the early game, the game can certainly become a lot more difficult. But I think this does mean that we should see spore crawlers and whatnot started up at the correct time. So Elazer already protecting his mineral lines right now with those spore crawlers. And indeed, he should be able to deflect this first Oracle with relative ease. Now, I say first Oracle because the second one is already on that production tab as well. This is not something you usually do in 1 versus 1. Most of the time, you try and get that Oracle out really, really quickly. But you can see right here, in this case, Trap is gonna go for the double Oracle. And even though he's not capable of dealing any damage, he can always go ahead and use Revelation, which in this case will not just give him vision for himself, but also for his ally. Obviously, right, since all races have a lot of scouting in general, I think in 2v2, you should always be able to pretty much keep track of exactly what's going on, right? I mean, if you have 2 players actively trying to scout, there should be quite a lot of vision. So here we see actually Elazer getting that Overlord in, but now also scouting around here with Zerglings. And that should at the very least make this relatively easy here for the players in the bottom right-hand corner. Now, apparently, the Oracle here did pick up a lot of kills as well. Second Oracle may have actually ended up going down as well. So there we go, guys. I already missed 1 engagement. Good job, Lowko. Good job. I already missed one of the minor engagements in this game. I think that the Oracles may have actually ended up killing just a couple of those drones. So yes, indeed, 5 drones in total did end up going down. Man, I love this unit's lost step as well, though. Although I wonder what happens if, like, it fills up. Are we just gonna run out of space? I'm not entirely sure how the interface that I'm using here will handle that once a lot of units do end up going down. But anyways, usually, right, in my experience, when I play team games, they get very, very aggressive really, really fast. And in this case, that doesn't really seem to be happening just yet. Kyordo did get himself a couple Marines. They were loaded up into the medevac, so a very standard 16 Marine drop right here by our player in red. And he's already slowing this down quite a bit, but now all of a sudden he has to deal with not just Zerglings and Queens, which what usually happens at this point in the game, but also with Marines as well as a siege tank. Do you think it's best to share control in these kind of scenarios? You think that's better? You know how in 2v2 you can make it so that your ally can also control your units? I think that is a smart idea, right? At the very least, though, uThermal decided to leave a siege tank behind right next to the hatchery, which is a really, really weird sight to me. After playing StarCraft for so very long and mostly focusing on 1 versus 1, this is very, very awkward for me to see, but that should at the very least allow this base from Elazer to hold fine for the time being at the very least. All right. Now, how does this actually work? Can you actually land the orbital command on creep? I'm pretty sure you can't, right? I know you can in co-op, but I'm pretty sure if there's creep over here, you won't be able to land the command center, right? Although I'm not entirely sure. I'm not convinced there. Man, this makes me want to play some 2v2 myself as well. You can do so many weird things. I mean, obviously, when you just like ladder, oftentimes you have a hard time communicating with your ally if you don't use voice chat or whatever. But I can guarantee you that all players here are definitely communicating with each other. And that's gonna just allow you so much more flexibility, right? There's so much more strategic potential, I suppose. I would love to see more of it, honestly. I think it'd be really interesting what players are capable of. I mean, I casted an Archon match recently. A 4v4 Archon match. That game was ridiculous. If you haven't seen it, I'll go ahead and post a link to it down below in the description of this video, because it is 100% worth checking out. The amount of micro you can pull off when you have 4 players microing 1 army, it gets insane. Anyways, so far, neither side really taking any critical amounts of damage. You can see uThermal right now setting up a ring of defenses. Couple of Widow Mines as well, the Overlord. Look at that. That is so cheeky. I don't know if that's on purpose. I think it is, though. But he's, like, hiding this Widow Mine little spot with the Overlord up above. So, like, if a medevac comes in right now, it's likely not going to drop over there, but it's likely going to try and drop over here, right? And then, because the Overlord is hiding the Widow Mine, it won't be spotted. Anyways, continue drop harass here for Cure. He's going to try and see if he can slow this economy down, but it's not quite happening. Now, let's have a look at the unit compositions. We see a Roach Swarm House-based style here for Elazer, Marine Siege Tank for uThermal, a very heavy focus right here on Colossus already for Trap, which is obviously excellent against the Terran player here, but not so very good against the Zerg. And then last but not least, I guess we see also a Marine tank-based army here for Cure. So it's really the Protoss and the Zerg player that are being a little bit more creative. In particular, right now, Mr. Trap. He's playing a style here, and I gotta compliment him on that. He's playing a style that is definitely not meant for 1 versus 1, okay? So he went for the double Oracle into that Stargate, with the Phoenix production, rather, and then he immediately went double Colossus, and right now he's already getting the Fleet Beacon. You could never pull this off in 1 versus 1, but in 2v2, if your ally has the potential of making Marines, I guess that changes immediately. Super cool. Anyways, big push coming up right now, though. Team Blue, Team Europe, going up against Team South Korea. They're gonna try and make their way towards the opposing side of the map. If these siege tanks are taken out of the equation, that definitely can hurt quite a bit. Although already, yeah, while the siege tanks do get target fired down, the Marines are there to deal the damage. And that's usually why we don't really see a Zerg player focusing on Swarmhost against a bio-based Terran. Already though, the siege tanks right now, on the high ground, shelling away at a couple of those Colossus. Great stasis ward right there going off. Solid force fields as well. Trap did end up losing 1 Colossus there, but I think he's gonna be fine for now. Now, Elazer was threatening a little bit of a run-by right there on top of the ramp. At the same time, though, Thermi has decided to make one of his dropships moved towards the opposing player's natural as well, but so far it's been deflected decently well. At the same time, Cure is stimming forward right here with a big marine-based army. Reinforcements here from uThermal should be able to deflect this decently well for now, but while this is all going on, the Swarm Host wave has made its way towards the natural, and it's once again killing a couple of things at once. Roaches now also joining the fray here, but I think they need the siege tanks in the back, and the siege tanks are out of position, and that will mean that the hatchery falls. So nice pickup here by Cure. They're holding on to the aggression here of their opponents just fine, and they're also taking care of one of the mining bases. So very solid engagement here for Cure, getting himself in a good position, as well as, of course, his ally, by just simply continuously expanding right now as well. This is cool. All players are already taking their side of the map, right? If you, like, draw a line through, like, the center here, it looks like Team Red has picked up the left-hand side, and Team Blue is starting to take control of all of the bases on the right now. Oh, that's a big Swarm Host wave. Even with 5 Colossus out, as well as a whole lot of Zealots and whatnot, it's still not going to be enough. And that's the thing about Swarm Host, right? I actually think that Swarm Hosts are a really good choice, though, in 2v2, right? Swarm Hosts have this nasty tendency to be super supply efficient, or inefficient rather, but really good when it comes to, like, trading well. So they take up a lot of supply. I mean, this is a maxed out Zerg army right now. It's really not that big. But they're perfectly capable of just continuously raining those locusts, and right now they're gonna start paying for themselves really quickly. Anyways, Mothership is out. Corruptor's already trying to hunt that one down. There is indeed a shield battery on the low ground, but it's just barely not going to be enough. At the same time, siege tanks here did allow Cure to secure another base towards the left-hand side of the map. Swarmos, though, once again, do have their Locust off cooldown. I would like to see him use it right about right here. Siege tanks are moving forward simultaneously as well. And once again, a big Locust wave is going to start dealing some damage. This time around, it looks like Elazer is hunting for some of the units instead. A little bit indecisive, though, but he's just simply going to land them right there. Another one of those Tempests will be picked off by those Corruptors. And while that's going on, Cure is still forced to deal with a lot of those Marines, as well as his opponent's players' siege tanks. One of those siege tanks, though, does get picked off. Cure does have a lot of army units here, but they're all on the other side of the map. Planetary Fortress here does finish, so I think he's going to be able to, once again, reposition some of those tanks as well. Man, there's fights everywhere already, right? This is so sick. Marines stimming forward. The Tempest from a distance trying to also shoot down some of those Corruptors. A couple of Roaches being a little bit too excited, and they decide to run through their deaths. But it does allow right now uThermal to pick up the Nexus here, as well as a whole lot of those siege tanks, actually. You gotta be careful. You cannot lose that many siege tanks. A lot of Marines obviously went down as well, but Marines usually relatively disposable. The thing is, once the Tempests are gone, the Corruptors can deal so much damage to the Colossus, right? And I think they've actually already successfully managed to clean up like 3 or 4 of them. Actually, maybe even more. How many Colossus went down? Yeah, 5. 5 Colossus at the 13-minute mark already fell. Really well done. Anyways, while eventually it does look like the Zerg army will be pushed back, and the players in blue are gonna have to find another fight to engage into. Ooh, that's a lot of, like, siege tanks just sitting here, right? I don't know if you want that. Ugh, that's a lot of damage being done here by Cure and Trap. But eventually, while that army does get pushed back, they've decided to move their efforts towards the left-hand side of the map instead. Reinforcing Swarm Hosts right now once again coming up. Only a couple of their Locusts will get activated, as Elazer is waiting to get into the perfect position to activate the rest of them. At some point, you do want to get rid of those units, but while that's happening though, Cure and Trap are moving forward. They're smelling blood right now. They've just killed a big chunk of their opponent's players' army, and they want to start moving forward and try to kill as many bases as they possibly can. While that's all going on, though, the siege tanks here are still shelling away on that command center on the left-hand side. Big drop right now happening for uThermal as well, but that does mean that his units are not gonna be as big on his side of the map. uThermal now, though, stimming forward with his reinforcing Marines, using the siege tanks here from the back as well, but the Tempest already shooting away at a lot of those tanks, and they will be picked off. That means the Cure and Trap are right now in the natural of their opponents. The same can be said, though, on the other side of the map. uThermal did end up picking a Nexus there as well, and it does look like the Planetary here on the left-hand side also was picked off. All players here are taking heavy amounts of damage, but this is still tricky, though. Cure and Trap are basically on top of the production right now, and that's gonna be extremely difficult to break. Although Swarmos, of course, are very good when it comes to breaking these siege tanks lines. They will be able to, at the very least, shut down 2 of those tanks, and they will also force that liftoff. One of those Tempests apparently has got a bit of a death wish. One of the Void Rays desperately trying to get away from this as well, but I've got a feeling that its days are numbered too. Man, what a sick game already. I don't even see this one happening or ending right now, right? This is so cool. All right, Cure stimming forward, trying to get all of those Swarmos, man. He's been taking a lot of damage. He's like, wait, you're not supposed to play Swarmos against Marine-based armies, but still it's happening anyway. Cure, though, at the same time, did end up killing another one of those hatcheries, and while they're killing that, though, they're all long-distance mining. There's really not that much mining here for Trap. He ended up losing this Nexus right here as well, and that does mean that Cure and Trap are sort of forced right now into this seemingly all-in position. uThermal has been happily mining from more and more bases in the top right-hand corner. Swarmos once again moving forward here. The Locust trying to pick up one of those tanks, and it does look like one of the tanks will end up falling. He's also simultaneously now using those roaches to pick up any reinforcements, but the siege tanks, man, they are still shelling away at this army, and they are perfectly capable of shutting some of these units down as well. Elazer, he has lost bases, but he's taken more on the left-hand side. He's now mining from a gold as well as another one over here, and I have to say, I think I really like the position here for uThermal and Elazer, as long as they manage to hold on right now at this point in the game. Another base, though, has been trying to get acquired, but a cheeky little Zergling is burrowed underneath that command center, and that does mean it can't land. And uThermal and Elazer do manage to hold on here for the time being. Now, Cure carelessly sacrificing what seems to be 2 medevacs. He's trying to get another base up, right? And he will be able to do so, but I think Cure and Trap meant to get the killing blow there previously. Still, though, those siege tanks here on the high ground, very cheeky play. They're gonna have a hard time engaging here, but uThermal, man, he does have a really large army. At the same time, roaches are moving forward. uThermal is sieging up some of those tanks as well, and siege tanks in combination with roaches, obviously very useful. Still a couple Dark Templar now, though. They're going to be able to make short work of those tanks, and that's going to shut down a lot of this as well. Still, keep in mind, this is one of the last mining bases right now for the players in red. They really need to hold on to this position, and now with all of those siege tanks gone, because of those Locusts once again, I think that this orbital command is going to be in a lot of trouble as well. That will mean that the liftoff is forced, and uThermal and Elazer are pushing forward. The Dark Templar still trying to do a little bit of damage here and there, but I don't think that's the real fight. I think it's a fight for economy right now, as all of these bases have continuously been cleaned up. The main, the natural, the third will all be running low on resources, and that means that Elazer and uThermal are the ones who obtain the victory in this 2 versus 2. What a cool game. What a cool game. Let me know down below if you would like to see more of these matches. I personally would love to cast some more as well. Although, yeah, sometimes it's difficult to keep track of everything that's happening, but I hope I did a good job. If you have any feedback to me and my commentary as well, always feel free to leave it down below in the comment section. I try to read as many comments as I can these days, and it really does, you know, as long as it's like at least some constructive feedback, right? I really do try and incorporate it into my upcoming videos as well. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I'll see you once again in the next one.